But this is my view, of course. So this is the story of the Rotterdam rules, and you certainly cannot read it in a bus ride, even if you're going all the way down to Santiago. It's really, really difficult, a piece of equipment. They contain, moreover, a lot of surprising provisions. Now, shipping lawyers in the room, and I know there are many, will be used to conventions talking about limitation of liability, who's responsible, exclusion to limitation, when I lose limitation. It's about money, right? The Rotterdam rules are about everything. And I do mean everything. They contain rules about title to goods, about negotiability and transferability. I mean, this is the heart of commercial law. This is the very essence of the world's banking business. These are not banking lawyers, these are shipping lawyers, these are liability lawyers. These are liability insurance law. Why touch the heart of commercial law, the negotiable instrument issue? Crazy, absolutely crazy. Plus, because we all have codes, not England, but certainly Italy's got a code and you've got a code of some sort, that does conflict with your commercial codes. And therefore they are creating a duplicate negotiable instrument, which is different. It behaves differently. It's massive a change for the entire world community. Much more than they ever, I think, they ever considered. There is a nice chapter on shippers' liability, and this is the right place to talk about it, but I'm afraid we don't have too much time. I see some pressure coming from here already. I haven't even started talking about what I want to talk about. But shippers' liability are now regulated in, I think, about 16 or 17 articles. Just to draw your attention to the Hague rules, there is no such discussion on shippers' liability at all. The only thing is dangerous goods, and there is a portion of a sentence on dangerous goods. Now, you got a full chapter dedicated to your responsibility vis-a-vis the carrier. Even if you don't read it, the fact that carriers are all in favor of these Rotterdam rules should make you think. Then there are rules about live animals. There is a mini regime on live animals, which was felt, which, when I asked, why was it necessary? The answer was, why was it not? Volume contracts, which I'm afraid I don't even know what it is, although I've written extensively on that. I think it is a contract of affreightment, but may well not be. It's a caprice of the American delegation. And then, even more surprisingly, jurisdiction and arbitration. Another caprice from the Americans. Why? Because they wanted New York to come back into the game. And therefore they insisted for these rules on jurisdiction and arbitration, which are, quite frankly, remarkable. I'm not an expert in jurisdiction and arbitration, but what I understand is there are numerous international conventions on this. There are numerous European pieces of very important legislation on it. It was totally unnecessary to have these rules in a carriage convention when they never have been there at all. So instead of being a liability regime, it is a everything regime. It also affects ship finance. But when I asked the question to the draftsman of that particular provision, he said, oh, I didn't think about it. Last but not least, before we turn, there is no need for a transport document at all. So the notion that, now we have bills of lading, seaway bills, that's all forgotten. Because as long as you have a contract of carriage, even if it is recorded on this napkin, then the rules apply, or do not apply, if you understand what they say in Article 7. They are not in force. I want this space, I'm afraid. They're signed by Armenia, Cameroon, Congo. They all sign everything, so that is remarkable. Denmark, France, Gabon, Ghana, Greece, Guinea, Luxembourg, Madagascar, Mali, Netherlands, Niger, Nigeria, Norway, Poland, Senegal, Spain, Switzerland, Togo, Switzerland because really they don't have much to do with it, and the United States of America. And there is one ratification which was celebrated, I remember, when I was there at the party in Abu Dhabi in February, and that is a ratification from Spain. One ratification, thank God, doesn't make the rules in force. We need around another 20 something, and there is a minimum tonnage. So it is going to take some time, but again, watch this space. 3 weeks ago, I was called on a Saturday morning by the European Commission. That is a funny phone call to receive on a Saturday morning, particularly when you're still in bed. And I was asked whether I was interested to go to Mauritius, to which I said yes, but I was just awake. So then it took me about a minute to say, what for? Then they said, to convince the Mauritian government to ratify the Rotterdam rules. She said, you must have got the wrong number. Then I'm afraid, well, eventually I think they did. But the European Commission spending my money, because I pay taxes, unlike other Italians, no Italians in the room out there, spending my money to go to Mauritius, such a big trade partner. Big money, eh? I was listening, that's why. To go to Mauritius to convince Mauritius to ratify the rules. That was really surprising. So the EU, who hated these rules until about 6 months ago, is now backing them. And when they do back, they're very careful, because they back very well indeed. And they can just ratify them. If they do ratify the new treaty, we're all obliged to ratify. And if Europe ratifies, England ratifies, the insurance market ratifies, the world ratifies. Another story may go, I know that President Obama has now signed paperwork to go to Congress, and if the American lobby right, then I'm afraid the United States may ratify the rules, and if they do, then Europe will follow, and China and Japan may follow, and here we go, we're all the rules. The thing you should not do, I think, if I may give my advice, for free this time, is don't rush, sit down and see. But the thing you should not do is that if the world goes Rotterdam, everybody has to go Rotterdam. No matter how bad they are, but to be Hamburg, as I heard yesterday, to be Hague Visby in a Rotterdam world would be anachronistic, and you would, I'm afraid, put countries outside the radar, and ensuring will become more difficult. So the only advantage of new rules is that they may have a chance to be a uniform regime all over the world, and if they come into force with bigger countries backing them, there's no alternative than going into them. You don't want to go together in Hamburg, in Nigeria, and a couple of other countries. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Either we go all with it, or we just don't go. Personally, don't go. But, you know, we may be taken for granted. Why do they matter? Is the next slide. The Incoterms 2010 are in force from 1st of January 2011. The Rotterdam rules are already a reality, not only for Spain. I've been drafting some rules in carriage contracts on the Rotterdam rules. So there are some carriers who like them so much, they incorporate them by contractual choice. I think that has something to do with the liability of the shipper, I may be wrong. Both tools are designed to facilitate international trade. This is what they say, and I honestly believe this is what they wanted to achieve. sadly, I don't think it worked. They both work on a number of assumptions, the most remarkable of which are this. First assumption is that traders cannot draft their own contracts. There is a lot of disregard for traders. I don't know why. Uniformity is necessary to facilitate international trade, no matter what the uniform rule says. So there is this assumption that whatever the rule, as long as it's uniform, is good. Unfortunately, I don't think uniformity can be achieved without one sole court. Because even if we have a uniform rule, guys, we still have different interpretations of the rules. And if you look at the Hague dispute rules and the way they have been interpreted across the world, you will find enormous differences already. And it is a very simple piece of legislation. This one, forget about uniformity, it's impossible. Plus, guys, we already have the possibility of choosing one regime which is uniform everywhere. We can choose the law which applies to the contract. Now, mind you, uniformity in shipping, IMO, ISM standards, manning of vessels, liability for oil pollution damage, this has to be uniformed by the IMO. Why? Because this is tort. Because the vessel must buy insurance, and the insurance must be capped, and the cap must be applicable everywhere in the world. The vessels travel. They have to have a framework. But for contracts, for contract carriage, another question I asked, and apparently I shouldn't, was why do we need a regime today? Well, we can use the free market. We can just leave it to the forces of the parties. I mean, at the end of the 19th century, so 2 centuries ago, when the Hague Rules appeared, we had powerful ship owners from Europe, and we had very tiny little traders from the United States. They needed some strength. They needed international legislation. They got international legislation, which is already better enough for them. Do we need this now? Really? Are trade associations strong enough? I asked the question and I was answered, we didn't think about it. So, but now the rules are there and the Incoterms are there, so we deal with them. I said I have a question, and the question is, will I get paid if both the Incoterms and the Rotterdam rules are in force today? I am selling my skins of llamas on a box. They're worth $25,000. I am preparing them, I'm shipping them, I'm staffing them, I'm locking them, I am sealing them, I'm bringing them to the docks. I need my documents to go to the bank, to go to my buyer and get the money. This is the reason why I kill llamas. In order to do that, I have a number of assumptions because, as a lawyer, I need to put this in a real context. So the assumptions are, the sale contract is subject to English law, which may well be. A lot of sale contracts in the world are subject to English law for reasons on which I do not think at this time. The sale contract incorporates the CIF Incoterms 2010. The Rotterdam rules are in force, and the Rotterdam rules apply to the transport document tendered for payment. So there is a transport document, and this transport document is not a volume contract, it's not a charter contract, because the rules do not apply to these contracts. So it is a transport document property. So you're sitting in your office, you kill your llamas, they're all dead, the skin is all stuck into the container, and you're now thinking, I need to put the documents together because I want the money. You spend your 55 euros in this, and for the first time ever, you read it. Just the CIF part, of course. Because the others are irrelevant. And you discover that the Incoterms require you to obtain the following documents. A commercial invoice in accordance with the same contract. No difficulty, you draft the invoice, so you can draft whatever you like. The policy of insurance or other evidence of insurance cover. What they have in mind is a certificate or a declaration under an open cover. Fine. You can get that. You're a CIF seller, you got your insurance broker, you got your open cover, you do your declaration, you get the paperwork, off you go. Usual transport document that you cannot produce, that you cannot write, and that is the issue we want to discuss today. And then any other evidence of conformity which may be required by the contract, and that would be an inspection certificate, that would be an analysis certificate, that would be a DRAT certificate, depending on what you're shipping. In the case of live or dead animals, you will need some custom clearance, phytosanitary certificate, all this kind of paperwork, which will be agreed in the sale contract. So you read your sale contract, you drafted it, but you incorporated the Incoterms. What I'll be focusing now, because of the relevance of this audience, is the transport document. So I repeat what I was asking. For 87 years, the Hague rules have allowed us to make money out of killing sorry, that was another killing and selling llama skins. Are the Rotterdam rules documents good enough to satisfy the Incoterms, the new version of the Incoterms? Remember, the two documents are meant to work together to facilitate international trade. Do they do that, or is it a sham? In other words, will the seller get paid? Let's look at these transport documents a little bit more closely. Now, I'm becoming a bit more boring, I'm afraid, so you can fall asleep slowly. I'll wake you up when I'm finished. This is a bit more technical, but it is, I think, the most interesting part of the discussion. Under Incoterms A8, the seller must provide the buyer with the user transport document which must be for the agreed port of destination, which is fine because the Rotterdam rules force the carrier to issue a transport document which indicates the agreed port of destination. So if you ask the carrier will give it to you. So thumbs up, fine. Must cover the contract goods, and again, the Rotterdam rules give the carrier the duty to specify which goods are carried under the transport document. So again, bingo, you get your requirement. Must be dated within the shipment period. I'll come back to this in a moment. Must enable the buyer to claim the goods from the carrier at the port of destination. I come back to that in a moment. Must enable the buyer to sell the goods in transit by transfer of the document or notification to the carrier. I will come to that in a moment. Must be the full set if issued in negotiable form. That gave me a heart attack the first time I saw it, and I will come to that in a moment. So the first two are okay, the other four, not so sure. The first of the other four is this: must be dated within the shipment period. Now the ICC didn't want to say that. Okay? What they wanted to say, it must indicate shipment within the shipment period. Why? Because remember, shipment is the trigger for passage of goods. Shipment is delivery under a CIF and FOB contract. So the bill of lading tender, certainly today under English law, must be showing, and under the banking regulation, must be showing the date of physical shipment, not receipt for shipment bill of rubbish. Okay? Shipment, physical shipment, because the date of crossing the rail is the most important date for everybody. Carrier, shipper, and buyer. So the ICC didn't really want to say that, but they said that, so it's practical. Now, the question here is, can I get from my carrier a transport document which indicate that the goods have been, the transport document which is dated within the shipment period? Not sure, because 36 to C, just to give you an idea of how complicated those three layers. 36 to C says that the bill of lading, which is not a bill of lading, it's a transport document, has to contain the date on which the carrier or a performing party received the goods, so received for shipment bill of lading may be tendered, no good for you guys, or on which the goods were loaded on board the ship, this is good, or on which the transport document or electronic transport document was issued. Now, I've written this commentary to this one in our book, and my view is that the option is clearly left to the carrier. If the carrier has the option, I cannot ask the carrier to do what I want, but the carrier can do what he wants, and this will depend on his appearance. Now, so I may not be able to get goods, to get a declaration on the bill of lading, which is good enough for me to trigger the duties under this, most certainly not under English law. Very, very sneaky. Again, it's a point of detail, but it's detail which allows the bank to reject your documents and refuse payment. So it's detail on which some money turns. I'm nearly there. It must enable the buyer to claim the goods. You will remember that at the moment, I have to say this, but at the moment, at least under English law, so under the law of the contract of carriage usually, in order to be able to claim for the goods from the carrier, you need to be the lawful holder of the bill of lading, as defined in an act which is called the Carriage Approved by Sea Act 1992, section 2(1)A, or you have to be the consignee on a seaway. If you think of these documents in practice, your name has to be either in the consignee box on a seaway bill, or you have to have a bill of lading which says to order, or to Fillipo or order, and then endorsed to you in full, or just to order in blank, and you need the thing in your hand. You need to hold it. These are the two documents who gives you right to claim the goods from the carrier. Forget this, because the Rotterdam rules never are. The Rotterdam rules allow 4 documents, of course. We need to multiply things, make issues more difficult. A bearer negotiable transport document will allow the bearer or the holder to claim for the goods. If you have an ordered negotiable transport document, 25 minutes, I hope I'm finished and having coffee. An ordered negotiable transport document, the holder of that document on proper identification will be able to ask for the goods. If a non-negotiable transport document requiring surrender, it's called like that, is a non-negotiable transport document requiring surrender is issued, then the holder, consignee in the box on proper identification, 3 things. You hold it, you are the consignee, and you have an ID. Put the ID with me. Here we go. Italian counterfeited ID document. I have these, I get my... Because today, you need nothing of all this rubbish. Today, if you have the consignee named in the document, you just go there and say, hi, I'm Fillipo, give me the goods. Oh, here they are, thank you very much. if you are the lawful holder of the bill of lading, you just go there with the thing, and they give you the goods. That's it. But things change. So you can go to the carrier and ask now for one of 4 documents. And I'm afraid you need to know all this to know which one to ask for. I'm afraid it's going to take a master's degree. Much difference from now? Well, yes, really. In some circumstances, the carrier can deliver to somebody else anyway. I have to say, when I sat back last time at the UNCITRAL conference, there was outrage. One of the other conference people who actually drafted this particular piece was extremely upset with me. But the reality is that one thing, and he said, this is not what we meant. And I said, this is what you have written. And now it is enforced, it's not enforced, but it will be enforced, and that is law. What you meant doesn't really matter anymore. But the reality is that with the Rotterdam rules, the carrier can deliver your goods to somebody else, for example, a number of somebody else's, the controlling party, for a non-negotiable transport document, whether requiring or non-requiring completion. Under Article 45C, for those who are particularly eager to know, the shipper. What? The shipper. It's the guy who sold you the goods, okay? And he can get them back for reasons which better known as the draft. Article 46B and 47(2). The documentary shipper, which is somebody completely new. Documentary shipper is a guy who is responsible for the shipper's mistake without doing anything whatsoever. Articles 46B and 47(2). And in all of these cases, listen to this, the carrier that delivers the goods upon instruction of the shipper or the documentary shipper read the seller. I read this again because you may have fallen asleep at the wrong time. The carrier that delivers the good upon instruction of the shipper or the documentary shipper is discharged from its obligation to deliver the goods under the contract of carriage. Now the shipping lawyers among you, those who haven't died when I read this sentence, will realize that this is fantastic news for carriers. The dear old misdelivery is dead. Because the carrier now has a legal defense, true, in certain circumstances. You know what the circumstances are? The buyer does not come to the docks, and the carrier calls the buyer doesn't pick up the phone, and the phone says, well, I need to deliver, I'm going to call the shipper. The shipper thinks, oh, good news. I'm going to get a second go at this. Let me send it to somebody else. So sellers, beware. These documents would tick the Incoterms, but the buyers may not like them at all. If I was buying with real money some goods which may be delivered to somebody else, particularly my seller, I wouldn't like to pay any money against that document. I would like to wait to take delivery of the goods, then I pay, which isn't a CIF contract. I'm not critical, am I? Just observe. The next is they must allow to sell the goods in transit. Sell. Now, selling, in my dictionary, means pass property. We remember that I say that the Incoterms from 1933, 32, 36, sorry, they have never dealt with property. And they do say we don't do property. So, what are you talking about? Isn't this property? Again, today, the common law, the implied duty in any shipment, say, is that the seller must give the buyer a document which entitles the buyer to transfer the right to take delivery on And again, this is what they wanted to say. They wanted to say the document must allow the buyer to pass the right to take delivery, which we just discussed, to a next buyer. Through what? Through transfer of the document, a section 2.1a bill of lading, the lawful holder of which will have the right to claim delivery. What is a lawful holder? He's a lawful holder. Thank you, sorry. You won't disturb. Or notification to the carrier. Seaway bill. Straight bill of lading. I call the carrier and say, hi, I'm Fillipo, your shipper. You need to deliver to somebody else. Okay, done. This is what they wanted to say. I'm afraid they didn't. They said, transfer the property. Sorry, yes. Sell the goods in transit. Well, that's what they said. The Sale of Goods Act, section 17, defines a sale contract, one for which you pay money for property in goods. And I'm sure your code says the same thing. But the question we are asking is different. Not how bad are the Incoterms 2010. The question we are asking is, can I get paid under those Incoterms 2010? Well, the answer, thank God, is yes. Because I thought it was another slide, never mind. Because you can actually tender a negotiable transport document, either non-requiring or requiring presentation, and that is a document which actually operates the magic. It allows the buyer to transfer documents, to transfer property, not because the Rotterdam rules say so, but because English law, which you will remember we had assumed applied to the contract, says that property in the goods passes when the parties intended to pass. So if I agree with my buyer that property passes when I give him the bill of lading, property passes when I give him the bill of lading. If I agree property passes when we shake hands, it passes when we shake hands. Property passes at my wedding with his sister, probably property will pass my wedding with his sister. So, no big deal under English law, but is your law the same? I'm delighted to know just 2 slides to go. This is the most horrible of them all. The next one. It says a full set of transport documents if issued in negotiable form. The earlier version of the Incoterms said a full set of transport documents if issued in multiple originals. I know for the non-lawyers in here, I think it was the same thing. Well, I'm afraid it isn't the same thing at all. Why? Because if this was a bill of lading, I would look down here on the right-hand side and find a box. And the box would say, hi, I am number 1 of 3. That tells my Peruvian killer of llamas that he needs 3 original transport documents. Number 1 out of 3, number 2 out of 3, number 3 out of 3. Even a monkey can do that kind of observation. I don't know a llama, I don't know that very well indeed, but monkeys can do that. Now, it says something very different. It says that you need the multiples if the document is a negotiable instrument. Now again, I have been in shipping for more years than I care to remember, and I still do not know what a negotiable instrument is. Not because the law is difficult, but because the practice is difficult. And the laws are different. Under English law, a bill of lading which is issued straight consigned, i.e. the name of the consignee appears in the box with no words or order. So just Fillipo is in the consignee box. This is a straight bill of lading. And that bill of lading is not a negotiable instrument. is not a negotiable transport document. That bill of lading under Italian and English law cannot be transferred. Under American law, that bill of lading calls itself straight consigned, but can be assigned. Under Italian law, that bill of lading is a negotiable transport document and can be endorsed and transferred. Assigned and endorsed are two very different things. They work very different. The function of a document title, the function of negotiability, is something which is at the heart, again, of commercial law. And it means that if he has stolen the bill of lading, bring it on, just let's say, if he has stolen the bill of lading and sells it to me, and I buy it in good faith for money, I acquire good title. Good title from a thief. Yeah, I pay you credit. Good title. The assignment doesn't work in that way because he can only assign me what he's got, not what he hasn't got. So under Italian law, I buy from him a stolen document on a straight bill, woo, and I get good title. Under American law, I get an assignment which isn't working, and under English law, I cannot even think of buying it.